then try to flip some of those Trump states. Look here at the state in Nevada. Joe Biden has a 7,647 vote lead. He's got 49.3% of the vote to Donald Trump's 48.7%, and that's with an estimated 86% of the vote is in. But here is what we know about the outstanding vote. We think there's roughly 200,000 uncounted votes in Nevada. And so calculating them, what Trump would need and what Biden would need to get Nevada in their column. Look here. Joe Biden would need roughly 45 to 47% of that 200,000 lot of uncounted votes so far. Just note, Joe Biden currently has 49.3% in the vote total. So his need range is a little lower than where his vote range is now. Donald Trump, on the other hand, would need 52 to 54% of that uncounted pot of votes, the 200,000 votes that we think are uncounted. That is well above his current 48.7% in the vote total. So a bit more of a reach right now for Donald Trump than Joe Biden, but clearly with 200,000 votes still out, only a 7,600 vote difference, there's more counting to do in Nevada.
Well, there still is. There certainly is. Let's take a closer look with John King right now in Nevada. In Las Vegas, that area is the most populous part. What, about 70% of the population live in the Las Vegas area?
So let's do it this way. So you look at the size of the dots, that tells you the population center. It's not even close, right? If you look at the size it is, and then you get Washoe County up here, Reno, and Carson City, the more Republican areas you see. But it's just the red dots are a lot smaller. That tells you there are many fewer people there. And that's the challenge. So when you break this off and you come on in, as David noted, the president needs to overperform where he is right now. He's at 45. He essentially needs to run about 10 percentage points higher than that. It comes to about 54, 55 for the rest of the vote. When you get to 84%, 8 times out of 10, when the rest of the votes come in, they're within a point or two of that, right? So if you look at this and you study the history of elections, it's unlikely the president's going to overperform that number by that much, by 10 percentage points. It's unlikely. It's not impossible, which is why we count votes. But we're waiting. Most of the votes will be here. Clark County is more than 70%. It'll be roughly around by the time we're done counting them all, it'll be 72, 73% of the votes cast will be right here. And then you come up here again, you get more of the votes up here, and this will be about 15, 16% of the votes up here. And you see, this one's a little closer, but if the president of the United States needs 54, 55, he's 47 in this county, and he's 48, 49 statewide, he has to amp it up. Again, that normally does not happen. We don't live in we have a very close presidential election. Let's wait for them to count the votes and see if something unusual happens. It's about the delays get frustrating, right? Especially when you're so close. When Joe Biden's at 253, so he's knocking on the door. The president needs a comeback to reassure his supporters he's still in the hunt. He would like to see Arizona, Nevada, and these other states get to the finish line, but this is an election unlike any other. Mail-in votes, in-person early votes, election day votes. You wish the officials could count them quickly. The officials' response to that is, we want to get it right. We're going to take our time.
We'll watch it all closely. We're expecting more votes out of Arizona very soon. That state, along with Nevada, could push Joe Biden over the top in electoral votes. Will that happen? When? Will it happen? If it happens, stay with us.
What if you could have the perspective to see more? At Morgan Stanley, a global collective of thought leaders, offers investors a broader view. We see companies protecting the bottom line by putting people first. We see a bright future, still hungry for the ingenuity of those ready for the next challenge. Today, we're translating decades of experience into strategies for the road ahead. We are Morgan Stanley.
For all of us who weren't born yesterday, there's Consumer Cellular, where you get exceptional value like talk, text, and data for only $20 a month and connect to 99% of the U.S. population. Premium wireless for less. Switch today. Go online or find us at Target.
Attention! Do you have Medicare? Did you know that you may qualify to get up to $144 added back to your Social Security check every month? It's easy to see if you're eligible. Just call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center at 800-990-1664. In addition to receiving $144 every month, you might also qualify for a $0 Medicare Advantage plan that includes the following benefits: dental, including fillings, exams, and dentures; vision, including exams, frames, lenses, and even contacts; hearing, including hearing aids and batteries; and prescription drug coverage, all at no additional cost. The Go Medicare Benefits Help Center is open now at 800-990-1664. Both the call and the consultation are 100% free with absolutely no obligation to enroll. Call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center now at 800-990-1664. That's 800-990-1664.
Only Dish has the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR.
Who's here?
It holds up to 2,000 hours of your favorite shows
You waited.
I got all the seasons.
for as long as you need them. Dish, tuned in to you.
It's in your nature to be busy. It's in our nature to be flexible. WGU, the online university where ambition never rests.
From deep dives to daily briefs, CNN Politics podcasts have you covered. The X-Files, Politically Sound, CNN Political Briefing, and more. Listen on cnn.com/podcasts.
Hey, America. Looking forward to the weekend? I'm talking Clemson, Notre Dame. Yes! Touchdown Irish! And SNL, you won't want this. How about the NASCAR championship? When it's in the air. Oh, and to top it off, Breeze Brady on Sunday Night Football. Real. This weekend, it's all on NBC. That's something to look forward to.
Join HGTV's newest Fixing Family for an all-new season of fabulous renovations.
This house is going to be incredible.
For Dave and Jenny, it's all about family, fun, and fixing up homes.
We're ready to make it our forever home. I just need you to deliver, Dave Mars.
I always deliver to 5 kids.
This house represents a new lease on life. I'm in heaven. Oh, it's a big deal to me.
Every day's a gift. Don't miss an all-new Fixer to Fabulous. Tuesday at 9 on HGTV.
I'm Sarah Murray in Pennsylvania, and this is CNN.
Welcome back to CNN's coverage of election night in America continued. You see there on the big board, Joe Biden with 253 electoral votes. We projected Michigan and Wisconsin going to him today. President Trump has 213. Neither candidate has reached the magic 270 electoral votes as of yet. There has been reaction to today's election news from the markets. Let's go to CNN's Julia Chatterley, who can tell us more. Julia, how have the markets reacted and what's behind it?
Optimistic, Jake, I have to say. You know, the one thing I would tell you, and it's an overused phrase, is that investors and markets dislike uncertainty. Well, the only thing I think we were certain about going into this election was that there would be ongoing uncertainty, and that's exactly what we've got. So what the market's reacting to here is effectively pricing out a blue wave. They're saying, look, we care less about who's in the White House than we do about what happens in Congress and what policy follows. And they're sort of jumping ahead of the counting here and saying, this result looks like a divided Congress, and we're optimistic. Anything that was suffering under a black cloud of potential future regulation, so healthcare stocks, technology stocks, soared today. But there's two sides to every story, Jake, and you and I talk about this all the time. What's critical to the economy is financial aid. And all the challenges in split Congress that we've had over the past few months will likely carry on. Financials, they tell you a story about the economy. They were weaker today because they're saying there's going to be challenges, ongoing challenges ahead to get critical money to ordinary Americans. That's what we're looking at. And of course, it's just one day. Plenty more uncertainty to follow.
All right, Julia Chatterley, thanks so much. Anderson?
Jake, thanks very much. Let's check in with Michael McConnell, Nina Malika Henderson, Governor Granholm, and Scott Jennings. How do you anticipate what we hear? We're going to hear more results, not complete results, but more results, we believe, from Arizona in the coming hours, also in Georgia. Nina, what are you expecting to change?
No, it's unclear. We don't know. There are hundreds of thousands of votes out across these different states. The counting is continuing. We think those folks are participating in our democracy, and we just don't know. If the trends continue, it looks like Biden is closer to getting 270 than Donald Trump is, but we just have to count. We can be patient and let the workers do their jobs, and we'll see later on tonight and into tomorrow.
Scott Jennings, what are you expecting out of Georgia?
Well, it looks like there's going to be some tightening. I think what Republicans are really concerned about, of course, is whether that David Perdue goes below the threshold for a runoff in Georgia. So that's obviously something that's of real concern. On Arizona, I think we're going to know a lot tonight because it looks like based on what we've been told, there's going to be a huge number of ballots out of Maricopa County. And so if the Trump campaign's claims that they are going to gain a lot of ground or to come to pass, we might find out something about that tonight. And if they don't come to pass, we might know that as well. So we can see in the next few hours what the Trump campaign says is true about the nature of the ballots left to count out.
Yeah, we're told Memphis McConnell's more than 600,000 ballots still being counted in Arizona, and as Scott said, most of them, some 450,000 or so, they're estimating in Maricopa County, and may have been sort of delivered or dropped off in the day of the election and the days before.
So I recognize that the race is certainly not over. And of course, all the votes need to be cast, but the trajectory really is on the side of former Vice President Biden. The president needs something upended in order to change the momentum shift. I have to say, Anderson, last night was an awfully exciting evening. There were several momentum shifts during the course of the counting of ballots yesterday and last night. But in the end, when you step back, it really does fit a pattern that the political scientists were telling us was very likely, which was that given the propensity of Democrats to vote more often by mail-in balloting, that there would come a point where as it was being tabulated, you would see a gradual overtaking of the president by the former vice president. And that seems to be what's happening.
Governor Granholm, it's interesting. We heard from Joe Biden a few hours ago. Have not heard directly from the president today on camera, although he has of course been tweeting. Does it surprise you? Do you think it's wise that he is not going out there in front of cameras? Because obviously he did that last night or early this morning.
Really, the damage has been done. No, he did do that last night, and there were Republicans who pushed back on him because he was so outrageous. I'm glad he hasn't gone out. I'm glad it seems like his lack of being out front claiming victory, because really that's all he would do, right? He wouldn't go out and be gracious because that's just not in his DNA. He wouldn't go out and say, let's let the vote be counted. He made that clear last night. So keeping him off of the screen, I think, is a really good thing. And can I say, one other thing, Anderson, that I know that, we've been talking about this COVID situation for months. And today, on November 4th, we have this unfortunate situation where, not just unfortunate, but tragic, that we hit 100,000 cases of COVID for the first time in a single day. We are going to get back to this COVID thing. But in the end, when we evaluate all of this, I'm going to be really interested to see in the analysis how much the COVID situation played into the outcome of this election. I think a lot of Democrats were surprised that it wasn't more overwhelming because it seemed so obvious that the president was acting so utterly recklessly. We are going to get back to this discussion about COVID. He said that after the election, COVID, they're not going to talk about it anymore. Of course we are. But I do think that in the end, people will be so glad to have a leader that is going to focus on this relentlessly and responsibly like Joe Biden will do. And it'll be interesting to see how the president deals with it in a lame duck if, in fact, he loses this election.
Yeah, if Joe Biden does win, the next several weeks and months until an inauguration will be very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. What does the president do? Does he, if he ends up losing and not getting those 270 electoral votes, does he concede? What sort of mechanisms does he use in office, executive orders, to get some of his wish list done? Is there a stimulus package? I think the markets would like that, and the families that are struggling around the country would like that as well. I imagine it'll be chaotic. You have from the Biden team, they're already setting up their transition website, so they are looking like they think they're going to be in the White House, but it is going to be a very unpredictable next few weeks as the country grapples with this economic crisis as well as a health crisis.
Scott Jennings, what would your advice be?
Anderson, on that front,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted on that front about the next few weeks. Mitch McConnell in his press conference today in Kentucky said that he would like to see another COVID relief package before the end of the year. And so, obviously Donald Trump will be president no matter what happens in the vote counting here. But also the American people just spoke loud and clear. I mean, Democrats are going to lose seats in the House. Looks like Republicans, if it all works out for them, could still be the majority party in the Senate. So I actually think politically, Nancy Pelosi's hand has been weakened here by what the voters told us last night, and it might strengthen what the Senate Republicans wanted to do, which was a more scaled back but targeted package versus the bigger package that had been discussed just before the election between Mnuchin and Speaker Pelosi.
And Michael, what do you make of the stock market's response so far?
I think that the stock market likes stability, and from a divided House of Congress, in light of perhaps Vice President Biden being the president, if it goes the way that it looks like it's going, that's probably something that and perhaps controlled by both houses, by Democrats as well as the White House. Can I just say that one of the interesting things that I want to pay attention to is the behavior of the president if it doesn't go his way. He's got a lot to be proud of in terms of the way he campaigned in the waning days of the campaign. He's got every right to fight for every vote that is rightfully his. He defied the pollsters yet again. And Anderson, if in fact it doesn't go his way, I wonder about his legacy and if that's the reason that he wants to try and insinuate that there was fraud. Dare I say that perhaps we've not heard the last politically from Donald Trump, even if he loses this race.
The electoral count stands at 253 for former Vice President Biden, 213 for President Trump. Arizona, Nevada could push Biden to a magic number of 270 electoral votes. We expect new Arizona results soon.
You work hard for your money. Stretch days for it.
More?
Juggled life for it. Took charge for it. So care for it. Look after it. Invest with the expertise of JP Morgan, either with an advisor or online through Chase. After all, it's yours. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Let him go. We came to see our grandson.
We don't have to answer to you.
Diane Lane.
I won't be coming back here without him.
Kevin Costner.
Let Mike.
Let him go. In theaters Friday. Rated R.
One day, we'll look back and remember the moment that things, for one strange time in our lives, got very quiet. We worried over loved ones, over money, over our planet, and over takeout. Let's remember this time when so many struggled to feel secure and build a future where everyone can. Because when the world seems like it's standing still, that's the perfect time for us to change it.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it.
Oh, this doesn't feel like memory foam. This feels amazing.
Right?
What is it?
Actually, it's called Purple, and it's a completely unique comfort technology, meticulously designed to cradle and support the human body.
Cool.
It's our best Black Friday sale ever. Get $400 off a mattress and sleep bundle at purple.com/TV.
Need life insurance? Select Quote found Jacob 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And Select Quote found his wife Wendy a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
Our secret? At SelectQuote, we aggressively comparison shop highly rated companies to find you the company with the best rates. Why pay more? Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it, but even more about the person who doesn't.
Work today means being far apart while still working shoulder to shoulder. It means your 9 a.m. could be her 6 a.m. It means being radically honest. It means keeping track of people, places, and last minute changes. Work means taking a breath. It means Zoom and Slack and slides and coming together all in one place. For all things work, Dropbox.
It's moving day, and while her friends are doing the heavy lifting, Jess is busy moving her Xfinity internet and TV services. It only takes about a minute.
Wait, a minute?
But what have you been doing for the last 2 hours?
Delegating? Move your Xfinity services without breaking a sweat. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Xfinity makes moving easy. Go online to transfer your services in about a minute. Get started today.
I'm Diane Gallagher in North Carolina, and this is CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by TheraWorks Relief. Prevent and relieve muscle cramps.
If you suffer from muscle cramps in your legs and feet, TheraWorks Relief can help.
Get TheraWorks Relief today. Available in stores everywhere.
Let's take a look at the all-important electoral college count right now. Take a look at this. You can see Biden has 253 electoral votes. Trump remains at 213. You need 270 to win the presidency. Biden is getting closer and closer and closer. Let's get a key race alert right now. In Arizona, with its 11 electoral votes, 84% of the estimated vote is now in. Biden still maintains a commanding 93,000 vote lead over Donald Trump. 51% to 47.6%. In Nevada right now, 86% of the estimated vote is in. Biden has a much smaller lead, 7,647 over Donald Trump, 49.3% to 48.7%. 6 electoral votes in Nevada right now. David Joyner, we're taking a closer look. Let's take a closer look at Pennsylvania, because that lead that Trump has is so impressive, but it's shrunk.
It is impressive, and it has narrowed. Remember, Joe Biden has rebuilt 2 pieces of the blue wall, Michigan and Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, where Donald Trump still leads, he's got a 266,000 vote lead right now in Pennsylvania, with 86% of the vote in. It is Donald Trump 51.5% to Joe Biden 47.2%. But you're right, Wolf, that lead in the wee hours this morning, that was like 600,000 vote lead. And here's what we know about the outstanding vote in Pennsylvania, what has not been counted. Some 1.1 million votes. It's a rough estimate, not a precise number. But we then calculated to see, well, what would each candidate need to have Pennsylvania in their column when all the vote is counted? Joe Biden needs a pretty steep climb here. He needs between 68 and 70% of that outstanding uncounted 1.1 million votes if he's going to overcome Trump's lead, flip Pennsylvania, and make it blue. Now, that is not out of the realm of possibility, given the way he's winning a lot of this absentee vote that's coming in. But Donald Trump has a much easier task here at the moment because he's in the lead. He only needs about 28 to 30% of that outstanding 1.1 million batch of uncounted votes so far in Pennsylvania. I just want to stress, though, that 68 to 70%, it is high, but it is in line with what we've seen Joe Biden winning with these absentee mail votes as they come in. So it is not out of the realm of possibility that he could possibly overtake Donald Trump and close that 266,000 vote gap. Not a guarantee at all, and that is why we have to continue to count the votes and wait.
It won't be easy at all, but we'll watch it very, very closely. John, let's take a closer look at Pennsylvania right now. What do you see?
You see just what David just described. I think that Joe Biden faces a steep hill, but the math says it is possible, and that's why you keep an open mind and you count the vote. Joe Biden needs to be getting above 70%, as David just noted, right? More than 2/3 of the votes. That's hard to do in a state where we know the president's very popular. However, the president's popularity is regionalized, if you will, within Pennsylvania. Look at Philadelphia. So Joe Biden needs 70% plus of the vote. Well, look, in Philadelphia County, he's getting 80% of the vote. So we know a lot of those ballots are here. We can look at the turnout here, 457,000. We go back 4 years ago, we see 584,000. We expect the vote count out of central Philadelphia, the city itself, and then the county around it, will be higher than 4 years ago. That's what we're told to expect. So you come back here and you say, okay, well, there are votes to be counted in a place where Joe Biden is winning nearly 80% of the vote. He has to be above 70%. more than reasonable to think, again, it's a steep hill, a lot of votes come in here, Joe Biden can make up some of that math. It's a little more dicey when you go to the suburban counties around it. Joe Biden needs a lot of that to come in central Philadelphia and in the county. Over here, if he needs about 70% of the vote, well, he's getting 62% of the vote. Are those mail-in ballots from Montgomery County even more disproportionately pro-Biden? That's why you count them and find out. You see the steepness of the hill is underscored there. You move around to Chester County. Again, the suburbs around Philadelphia, the call, are now a big part of the Democratic foundation. If you're going to win in Pennsylvania, this is where you need to run it up. This one is a little bit more conservative. The president's doing okay, 55%. Again, if the votes keep coming in here at 55%, that's under what Joe Biden needs. But we do know in the mail-in ballots, we saw from the data disproportionately for Biden, as David said, they're coming in that direction. So then you move out here to Allegheny County. Again, we're still at 84%. This is Pittsburgh, the suburbs around Pittsburgh. Joe Biden's running at about 58% if you round up, below the metric he needs to meet to catch up. The question is, are these mail-in ballots, if you're doing 57, 58%, are they more disproportionately Biden? Because we know Democrats wanted to vote by mail. So let's just see, right? So you pull it up and you look again. This has been, the president, this is the key state, as the president built from Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin 4 years ago. 266,000 votes. You look at that and you say, okay, that's a healthy number when you're up to 86%. But as David noted, late last night into the early morning hours, it was more than 600,000. So the trend is obvious. It's moving in Biden's direction. The challenge for the Biden campaign is, with those outstanding votes, roughly 1 million, can you make it up? Again, it's hard, but we know from what we've seen so far during the day, we have to keep it as a possibility because so far Joe Biden is meeting the metric he needs. The question is, will he continue to meet it as they count the rest of them?
I'm just curious about Erie County, Pennsylvania, just south of Buffalo. One of my favorite cities out there.
All politics is local.
But Erie, both Biden and Trump, they spent some time in Erie campaigning. How did these two candidates do that?
And so you look at here again, you see 83%, right? It's a nice call. We're waiting for more votes. Traditionally, a blue-collar place. The former governor, Tom Ridge, is where he lives. He was a congressman, then he was governor. He was for Biden, actually, a moderate Republican for Biden. 52% for Trump, 47% for Joe Biden. If you round it up, if you go back in time 4 years ago, again, we had the third-party candidates did better. That's one of the stories of this year. The third-party candidates did not do as well. The president won it by 2 points, 3 points. If you round up there, it's about back in here. So it's about the same, maybe a little bit more of a Trump lead. The question is, where are the rest of those votes, right? And so here's what you have to do. Remember, the reason we need patience to get through this process, everyone has to remember 3 different kinds of votes this year. People who voted by mail, they tended to be, especially in Pennsylvania, disproportionately Democratic. We know that from the data. People who waited in line to vote early and people who voted on election day. And the election day vote, again, this is one of the states where you have to give the president personally credit and the Trump campaign credit for the late campaign rallies. I know there are Democrats out there say those are super spreaders, those are COVID events. We can continue that conversation. I mean, in terms of turning out votes on election day, it worked for the president. If you look at the polling in these states, he was behind, just like in 2016. The Trump rallies did bring turnout. The question is, this is a great point, as we watch Erie County come in, are these ballots yet to be counted? Are they Democrats who decided to mail them? Or is it more of a mix? Because Joe Biden, again, has to greatly overperform that number. He has to overperform what he's getting statewide and now across the Commonwealth. But again, we're going to respect the count out in Arizona, where the president says he can come back. And we'll see here, it's getting interesting as it narrows.
With Joe Biden on the brink of 270 electoral votes, we're going to ask a close personal friend and political ally how the former vice president is feeling at this truly pivotal moment. We'll be right back.
You don't need a big meeting. You don't need a birthday. You don't need any excuse at all. You just need to love subs. Times 12. So go ahead and cater to your craving. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Can I help you? You want to buy a car?
Never go to a dealership again. Buy your next car on Vroom.com.
Will you sell us your car today?
No.
Never go to a dealership again.
Just sold my car in Brooklyn.
Sell your car on Vroom.com.
Your experience matters. At University of Phoenix, students with relevant life experience and eligible transfer credits save on average $11,000 and 1 year off their undergrad degree. See how much you can save.
Attention! Do you have Medicare? Did you know that you may qualify to get up to $144 added back to your Social Security check every month? It's easy to see if you're eligible. Just call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center at 800-990-1664. In addition to receiving $144 every month, you might also qualify for a $0 Medicare Advantage plan that includes the following benefits: dental, including fillings, exams, and dentures; vision, including exams, frames, lenses, and even contacts; hearing, including hearing aids and batteries; and prescription drug coverage, all at no additional cost. The Go Medicare Benefits Help Center is open now at 800-990-1664. Both the call and the consultation are 100% free with absolutely no obligation to enroll. Call the Go Medicare Benefits Help Center now at 800-990-1664. That's 800-990-1664.
My journey with therapy flipped the script by silencing that voice and empowering this voice, my voice. Therapy helped me do this, and it can help you too. Talkspace, therapy for all.
Love Jersey Mike subs? Love them times 12 with our new catering box. Packed full of a dozen individually wrapped subs. They're yours for the sharing. Jersey Mike's, be a sub above.
From deep dives to daily briefs, CNN Politics podcasts have you covered. The X-Files, Politically Sound, CNN Political Briefing, and more. Listen on CNN.com/podcasts.
I'm Matt Milton, and this is my class on varsity. 3, 2, 1, lift off. Your body is
I think the two words socialism and communism in the Hispanic community mean the same thing. It's frightening, it's dictatorial, and it cost Biden. Political consultants say the Biden campaign should have more effectively disputed that socialist label. Is there a lesson to future candidates about the Latin vote? I feel like the Biden campaign did what they needed to do at the bare minimum. These community groups in Florida told me they've had more money than they'd ever dealt with, but they got it all in the last 3 weeks. That's the problem. Too late. Too late. Joe Biden underperforming in other states too, like Texas, where in the largest Hispanic county, he won by just 5 points. Hillary Clinton had won by 60. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeting, the results sound the alarm about Democratic vulnerabilities with Latinos, and that effort hasn't been put in. Tonight, I'm warning to all politicians, ignore the Latino vote at your own peril. Terry Sanders, NBC News in Miami's Little Havana.
I'm Blaine Alexander in Georgia, where at least 200,000 votes are still outstanding. Is this taking longer than you expected to take, and why?
Oh, no, it's really quick, much quicker. Every legal vote will be counted.
The Secretary of State says all hands are on deck to finish counting as early as tonight. The two counties with the most remaining still tallying votes, Fulton and DeKalb counties in metro Atlanta, a growing blue spot in a once reliably red southern state.
We are looking at two of the largest counties in the state. There also happen to be two of the blackest counties in the state of Georgia.
And the vast majority of Black voters statewide back Biden, 87% compared to Trump's 11 in Georgia's exit polls. Democrats benefiting from the state's shifting demographics, where population has grown by more than 1 million over the last decade, a large percentage people of color.
But I want to make sure that my vote counted, and that is why I'm here.
Inside UFOT's organization, the New Georgia Project works to get them politically engaged.
We can demystify how campaigns work, demystify how government works, and make it accessible to all.
They've registered nearly 500,000 new voters since 2014.
So, in terms of politics, the idea that there are no safe seats is now our reality, and that people are having to work for it.
The question now, whose work paid off? Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Atlanta.
As we await the final results, we can all agree this has been an election unlike any other. I want to turn to NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, try to put some perspective in all this for us.
Well, Lester, we've had something we have never seen before, which is a president last night planning re-election even before that re-election is anywhere near to being certified. But, people who were saying that it is unusual for us to take so long to count the ballots, most of American history that's happened. 19th century, for much of that time, an election would take days because, especially before the telegraph, it took a long time for word to spread that someone had won. 1876, there was a conflict between Hayes and Tilden. Took over 3 months to resolve until finally it was decided that Rutherford Hayes would be president. And of course, many of us remember 2000 when George W. Bush was finally declared the winner of that election by a vote of the Supreme Court. So I think anyone who says that there's anything that is out of keeping with democracy about this is looking at it the wrong way, because what history tells us is the most important thing is for the counting of the ballots, not necessarily to be fast, but for it to be accurate. Our democracy depends on it. And the other thing about yesterday, huge turnout, that's a big symbol of health in a democracy.
Michael, thanks very much. Amazing how things can look different when we look through the lens of history. So take a step back. Well, that's nightly news for this Wednesday. I'm Lester Holt. For many of you, we're continuing our election coverage at the top of the hour, so we hope you can stay with us for that. Good night.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Great day on the lake. It is. Not just cooking. I saved a bunch of money on my boat insurance with Geico. Fellas, can it get any better than this? Whoa. My old hairstyle grew back. So did mine. What? How's an ace kid?
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
These days, we have lots of choices on what to wear. First Alert Weather on NBC 12.
Tonight, why Julianne Hough says her marriage is over for good after talks of getting back with Brooks.
It's like a whole thing.
Plus,